Her champagne glass was still in the air when she said it. I'm pregnant with Nathan's baby. My wife, Madison, said that at my birthday dinner, with my family at the table. My mother gasped and nearly dropped her fork. My dad sat frozen, wine halfway to his lips. And Nathan, my golden boy brother, the one with the perfect jawline, the yacht, the trust fund, just stared at the table like he suddenly forgot how to breathe. Madison smiled, like she'd won something. She actually expected me to break. She thought I'd flip the table, cry, beg, or storm out. That I'd crumble in front of everyone like a weak little man who just got humiliated. But I didn't. Instead, I reached into my blazer, pulled out a folded paper, and calmly placed it on the table. Funny you mentioned that, I said, because I brought a little something too. I looked straight into her eyes. Remember the fertility test you took last month? The one you lied about and said was for insurance. Her smile faded. That paper says you've been infertile for the past 5 years. Silence. The entire room turned to ice. My mom's jaw dropped. Nathan's face turned to ash. And Madison? Her hand trembled as she reached for the paper like it might bite her. She scanned the results. Her face twisted. Her lips moved, but no words came. I stood and raised my glass. To the best birthday I've ever had. That's when Madison lost it. You set me up, she screamed. You planned this whole thing, you manipulative son of a... Keep going, I said. Everyone's listening. She threw her napkin, called me pathetic, said I was boring, predictable, that Nathan made her feel things I never could. And Nathan? He didn't defend her. He looked like he wanted to melt into the floor. I smiled, but inside I was burning. Because this wasn't the start of her betrayal. It was the end. She didn't know I'd been watching her for months. It started with little things. A second phone she kept buried in her purse. The way she flinched when I touched her shoulder if she was texting. How she suddenly needed space. How her gym sessions went from an hour to 3. She'd come home smelling like cologne I didn't wear. I'm not stupid. I just loved her too much at first to believe what was right in front of me. But love makes you blind, not deaf. And I heard the lies clearly. How she said she was going to meet a friend named Chloe, but Chloe posted an Instagram story from Cabo that same night. How she said her company had booked her a late meeting at the Hilton, but the front desk said there was no corporate booking that week. How she giggled like a teenager when Nathan came over and always sat too close, touched his arm, whispered things while looking at me. I saw the way his eyes followed her, too. The way he laughed louder when she laughed. The way he'd smirk whenever I called her babe, like he knew something I didn't. I hired someone. A real professional. Not some sketchy guy in a hoodie, but a licensed investigator. He was worth every dollar. He got me photos, timestamps, hotel bills, video, them kissing in the back of her car, him walking out of her apartment at 2 a.m., and her smiling the next morning like she hadn't just spit on 6 years of marriage. But I waited, not out of fear, out of strategy. I waited for the right moment, when she'd feel safe, in control, cocky enough to gloat. That moment came tonight, on my birthday, surrounded by my entire family, when she stood up and announced her pregnancy like it was a wedding toast. Except I didn't fold. I flipped the script. And now, as her face crumbles in front of everyone, as she stammers half-truths and burns through every ounce of fake charm, I feel calm. Not happy, not angry, just done. Nathan finally speaks. His voice is tight, full of panic. Madison, is it true? About the fertility thing? You told me you were ovulating. She turns on him so fast it almost makes me laugh. Oh, please, Nathan, she hisses. Don't act like a victim. You were in on this too. You wanted me. I didn't think it would go this far, he snaps. You said Adam didn't care about you anymore. She shrugs, her mask cracking. Well, he didn't. I look her dead in the eyes. You don't get to say what I felt. You don't get to rewrite everything just because it makes you feel better about being a fraud. She snarls. I gave you the best years of my life. No, I say coldly. You sold me those years, while renting your loyalty to someone with a better paycheck. My mother covers her mouth. My father lowers his head. The silence in the room is so dense, you can feel it pressing against your chest. Then Madison scoffs and grabs her bag. I'm done. This dinner's a disaster. I step aside. Door's right there. She walks out, muttering insults under her breath like some cheap villain in a soap opera. Nathan follows, but slower, like he suddenly realized he's not the star of the show anymore. Before he reaches the door, I call out. By the way, Nate, You should probably get tested. She's been seeing a guy named Travis too. Bartender at her gym. His spine stiffens. That one hit home. After they leave, nobody speaks. My birthday cake sits untouched on the table. Candles burn down to waxy nubs. The air is thick with awkward sympathy. But I don't need their pity. I just need the truth. And now, I finally have it. I didn't sleep that night. Not because of sadness. Not even anger. Just stillness. The kind that follows a storm when the wreckage is too fresh to process. I sat on the edge of the bed, staring at the empty closet where Madison used to hang her chaos. Her perfume still lingered in the air, artificial and sharp, like everything else about her. My phone buzzed at 2:17 a.m. Nathan. I didn't answer. A minute later, a text. Man, I didn't know about Travis. I swear. Like that was the part that offended him. Not the betrayal. Not the lies. Just that someone else might have been sleeping with his stolen woman. I put the phone down and walked into the kitchen. Poured a glass of water. Stared out the window at the streetlight flickering like a warning. And that's when it hit me. The part no one tells you about betrayal. It's not the knife that kills you. It's the realization that you handed it to them. I trusted her. I defended her when friends raised eyebrows. I ignored red flags like a fool because I believed that love could fix anything. But love can't fix a liar. It just gives them a better alibi. The next morning, I called my lawyer. Told him I wanted the paperwork ready within 48 hours. He didn't ask questions. Just said, I'll make it clean. Later that day, Madison came back. She didn't knock. She still had a key. I was in the garage, boxing up old tools when I heard the front door open. Adam. Her voice, suddenly soft. Like honey with poison mixed in. I didn't answer. She found me stacking boxes, tried to act like it was a normal Wednesday. I just came to get some stuff, she said. Didn't think you'd be here. I kept stacking. You think a lot of things that aren't true. She flinched. Okay, look. About last night. I turned to face her. Her makeup was minimal, her eyes red. Not from remorse. From consequence. You humiliated me in front of my family, I said. Lied about a pregnancy. Lied about loving me. Slept with my brother. Then played the victim. I made mistakes, she whispered. No. You made choices. Silence. Then she tried the angle I expected. Tears welled up. She stepped closer. I lost control, okay? I was lonely. You were always working. Always distant. You cheated, Madison. Not once. Not twice. With multiple men. And you're standing here blaming me for it. Her voice rose. I was trying to find myself. No. You were trying to escape yourself. She went quiet. Then, suddenly, she snapped. You know what? Screw this. You act like you're some noble saint. But you were never man enough for me. You just wore the costume. Husband. Provider. Good guy. But underneath, you were empty. That one landed. But I didn't show it. I just stepped aside and pointed to the hallway. Your things are in the guest room. You have 10 minutes. She laughed bitterly. You think you're going to come out of this clean? Everyone's talking, Adam. Your family is shattered. You destroyed your own birthday like a drama queen. Maybe, I said. But at least I didn't destroy my marriage with my own ego. She glared at me, but I could see it. Beneath the fury, the cracks were spreading. The performance was crumbling. And for the first time, she looked scared. As she walked away, I noticed something in her bag. A small silver frame. Our wedding photo. I didn't say a word. Let her keep it. Let her look at it every time she needs to remember what she had and what she burned. She left without another word. The door slammed behind her, but it didn't echo. Because this house finally felt quiet. 2 days passed. I didn't hear from her. Not directly. But Madison had a way of polluting every space she used to touch. Her fingerprints were still all over the house. The wine glasses she only pretended to clean. The stupid crystal bowl she said she had to have, but never used. The expensive blanket she bought for the aesthetic, not warmth. Everything was artificial. Just like her. I got a call from my mom. She didn't mention the dinner. Or the affair. She just said, your father's not sleeping. Nathan hasn't shown his face. And I keep thinking maybe this isn't real. It is, I said. All of it. She went quiet. Then softly, you okay? I wanted to lie. Say I was. That I'd moved on. But I wasn't. Not really. I'm breathing, I said. That's something. Later that night, I walked past my bedroom and caught sight of an old shoebox under the bed. Inside were photos. Dozens of them. Vacations, Christmases, lazy Sundays. Madison's smile in every one, bright and rehearsed. But it was the ones of me that stopped me cold. Because in those pictures, I wasn't smiling with my eyes. I looked tired, faded, like someone trying to deserve love that never existed. That was the most brutal part of it all. Not that she betrayed me, but that I bent myself into shapes to be worthy of someone who was never real to begin with. The next day, the papers were ready. I didn't tell her I'd filed. She found out on her own. She showed up at my office. Not the house. Bold move. My assistant buzzed me. "There's a woman here. Says it's urgent." I stepped into the hallway, and there she was, leaning against the wall like she hadn't just nuked my life. "Did you seriously file?" she asked, arms crossed, eyes already defensive. "I told you I would." She scoffed. "No warning? No discussion?" I laughed. Actually laughed. "Now you want discussion? I thought maybe we could try to fix it." I looked her up and down. "Are you pregnant or not?" Silence. That told me everything. "Yeah," I nodded. "Didn't think so." She stepped forward, that manipulative softness creeping back into her voice. "Adam, look, we were broken long before Nathan. We were pretending. I just acted on it first." "You acted like a monster," I said. She bit her lip, like she was debating which role to play next. The victim, the temptress, the regretful wife. I didn't give her the chance. "You cheated, lied, used me, then tried to break me publicly. I didn't want to hurt you. But you did. Over and over. And you enjoyed it." She blinked, stunned I'd say it out loud. Like she expected me to still shield her from truth. I leaned closer. "You don't get to be part of my life anymore, Madison. You're not the main character here. You're just the storm that passed." That finally shut her up. She left. No goodbye. A part of me waited for the elevator doors to reopen, for her to come back with some explosive twist or last desperate attempt at control. But she didn't. She was gone. And for the first time in what felt like years, I could actually breathe. A week later, I got a message from Nathan. Just his name lighting up my phone made my blood itch. "Can we talk?" I stared at it for 10 full minutes. My thumb hovered over the screen. Part of me wanted to tell him to go to hell. Another part, the stupid, loyal, older brother part, wanted to hear what he had to say. I replied with 2 words. 10 minutes. He showed up an hour later. Typical. He looked like hell. Dark circles under his eyes, hair uncombed, shirt wrinkled like he slept in his car. He stood on my porch like a kid who just crashed the family car and didn't know how to fix it. I opened the door, didn't say a word, and walked back inside. If he wanted to beg, he'd have to work for it. He followed me in, hesitated in the living room. "You gonna punch me?" I shrugged. "Depends on what comes out of your mouth." He sat down on the edge of the couch. "I messed up, man. No kidding. I didn't mean for it to get serious with her." "You mean Madison?" I said. "Use her name. Don't protect her with words like it." He winced. "Madison. You knew she was my wife. That wasn't a mystery. She wore my ring, sat at my family table, and you still went for her." He rubbed his face. "She came onto me first." I snapped. "Don't do that. Don't play the weak little brother. You're a grown man, with options. But you chose mine." I wasn't thinking. "No, you were thinking with something else." He flinched, silent. "Let me guess," I continued. "She told you I was cold, boring, that I didn't touch her anymore, that she felt invisible." He looked up, shocked. "How'd you know?" I smirked. "Because it's exactly what she told me when she was cheating on her ex. You just inherited her script." Nathan sank into the couch like he was folding in on himself. "She lied to both of us," he whispered. "She didn't lie," I said. "She sold. Madison sells stories, sells affection, sells guilt. And you? You bought it." He nodded, quiet. Then he looked at me. "Do you hate me?" I thought about it. "No," I said. "Hating you would mean I still care." That cut deeper than a punch ever could. He stood up, slowly. "I'll stay away. From you. From Mom. From all of it. That's your choice." He paused at the door. "Are you gonna be okay?" "I already am." He left. And just like that, both of them, the woman who lied to me and the brother who betrayed me, were out of my life. The silence they left behind wasn't empty. It was clean. I finally started living without second-guessing, without checking phone logs, without wondering why she smiled at someone else's texts but rolled her eyes at mine. I wasn't healed yet, but for the first time in years, I wasn't bleeding anymore. 2 months passed. The divorce finalized quietly. No courtroom drama, no dramatic scenes, just a signature, a notary stamp, and the cold, legal disconnection of two lives that once swore to grow old together. Madison didn't contest anything. She didn't want the house, didn't ask for spousal support. She just walked away like she was late for a flight to someone else's ruin. I didn't see her again, but I heard things. She moved in with a new guy, not Nathan, not Travis either. Someone older, richer, a businessman, according to a mutual friend. Apparently, he had a boat. That made sense. Madison always needed a new ride when the last one broke down. One night, I came home to find the wedding album on the kitchen counter. I hadn't seen it since the split. I never kept it out. I would have sworn it was in storage. I opened it. A note fell out. I don't expect forgiveness. I just needed you to know I did love you once, even if I was too broken to show it. No envelope. No return address. Just that. I stared at the words like they might rearrange into something that made sense. Like maybe I'd find a sliver of the woman I married buried in the handwriting. But all I felt was nothing. It was like hearing an echo of a song you used to love, only now it sounded off-key and hollow. The next morning, I burned the album in the fire pit out back, one page at a time. Watching our smiling faces curl into ash was strangely peaceful. About a week later, I ran into Chloe, Madison's old best friend. The one she always said was jealous of our marriage. Chloe didn't look surprised to see me. "Hey," she said gently. I heard. I nodded. She stepped closer. "You know, she used to brag about how perfect you were. Said you were too good for this world, that you'd do anything for her." I raised an eyebrow. And yet, she cheated. Chloe sighed. Madison didn't want perfect. She wanted chaos she could control. We stood in silence for a moment. Then she looked up at me, eyes honest. She was never afraid to lose you. She was afraid you'd figure out she didn't deserve you. That stayed with me. Because that's what it was, wasn't it? Madison had been playing with house money, bluffing through a life she never intended to protect. And when I called her bluff, she folded. Eventually, people stopped asking what happened. Friends picked sides, as they always do. A few stayed. Most didn't. The ones who mattered did. But the most unexpected thing was how many men reached out quietly. Old coworkers, gym buddies, even my cousin. They all had stories. Of being betrayed. Of losing themselves trying to keep a woman happy who was only ever feeding off their peace. It made me realize I wasn't alone. Just the latest chapter in a bigger, dirtier book. One night, I sat on the porch alone, sipping whiskey, the sky heavy with stars. And I started to smile. Not because I was glad it happened, but because it ended. Because sometimes, the best thing a fire can do is burn down the lies and leave you standing in truth. I started sleeping again. Not the shallow kind of sleep I used to fake when she'd come home late and crawl into bed smelling like hotel soap and someone else's cologne. I mean real sleep. The kind where your body forgets to be tense. Where your brain isn't playing mental chess at 3 a.m., trying to decode lies dressed up as excuses. My mornings were quiet now. Just black coffee, sunlight through the blinds, and no high heels clacking down the hallway pretending to be busy. No forced small talk. No lingering lipstick stains on wine glasses she never finished. One morning, I went through the attic and pulled out a box labeled Madison's junk. Inside were old receipts, birthday cards she never gave me, notebooks half filled with dramatic quotes about living unapologetically. The kind of stuff people post on Instagram to excuse being selfish. I laughed once, then closed the box and left it by the curb. An hour later, it was gone, picked clean by someone else. Probably just trash to them, which was fitting, because that's all it had become to me, too. I started seeing a therapist, just once a week. I told him everything, from the moment I met Madison, to the dinner, to the test results, to the scream she let out when I told her she was infertile, and the whole room realized she'd lied with her whole chest. He didn't say much that first session, just nodded and said, "You're not grieving her. You're grieving the version of yourself you were when you still believed her lies." That hit harder than I expected, because it was true. I'd been mourning the man who used to give her his last slice of pizza, who worked weekends to take her on stupid anniversary trips, who kept believing she was just going through a phase, not unraveling everything behind my back. That man was gone, and maybe that was a good thing. One afternoon, I stopped by my parents' house. My mom hugged me tighter than usual, like she was afraid I might still break. "You look different," she said, stepping back. "Better or worse?" "Like you finally woke up." Nathan wasn't there. I didn't ask. I didn't care. My father shook my hand like he wanted to say something more, but didn't. We just sat in the backyard watching the dog dig holes Madison used to scold him for. Even the dog seemed happier. Later that night, I got a DM. From Travis. Yeah, that Travis, the gym guy. Bartender. One of Madison's many experiments. The message was short. Hey man, I didn't know she was married. I swear. She told me you were her ex. That you hit her. I backed off as soon as I found out. I stared at the screen. Not angry. Just tired. Because of course she lied to him too. Of course she played the victim again. Of course she weaponized her own mistakes to paint herself as the one needing rescue. I didn't reply. What was there to say? He was just another name on the list of people she used and discarded like old shoes. I put my phone down and went for a walk. The air was cold, clean. I passed couples walking hand in hand. A kid riding a bike with training wheels. A man watering his lawn in pajamas. It all felt calm, like a world I'd been watching from the outside was slowly letting me back in. And that's when it finally hit me. I wasn't rebuilding. I was starting from scratch. And I had no intention of ever letting someone like her back into the new version of my life.